During the recent IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C., South Africa's Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan told CCTV's Shraysi Tandon that indeed the strikes was costing the country millions of dollars, but that there was hope for resolution soon.
Now, South Africa is heavily reliant on its mining industry, but what we've seen in recent months, if not even recent years, is that the mining industry has been plagued with a series of strikes. In fact, it's one of the biggest strikes, the biggest post-apartheid strikes that is currently going on in South Africa. How is the government handling this? Because I believe the root of the strikes is the anger that's stemming from the gap between the rich and the poor in South Africa.
Partly that, but I think more fundamentally, perhaps what the world doesn't quite remember, is that South Africa's mining industry, which started in the late 1800s, was built on migrant labor. It was built on an apartheid system and a pre-apartheid system which said if you are a worker, you will leave, for example, the Eastern Cape, where your family will reside. You will go and live in a hostel near Johannesburg or Kimberley, where diamonds were, and you will dig up whatever we require you to dig up, and once or twice a year you might get an opportunity to return to your family. 120, 30 years later, we still have that system. So from a government point of view, we want to see an end to the strike. We want to see no violence, and there's been good progress on that particular front. Thirdly, we want the mines to become more productive again and people to get back to work. But fourthly, employers and employees must find the right level at which employees are rewarded in a way in which there's a live and let live approach.
The South African government, your government, the ANC party, not too long ago implemented the Black Economic Empowerment Program. The design of this was to reverse all the inequalities that happened during apartheid, to redistribute wealth. Yet we still see millions and millions of black South Africans entrenched in poverty. Would it be fair to say, Minister, that the program has failed?
So South Africa is a very complex country where trying to overcome and undo over a few hundred years of inequality and discrimination and inequity won't happen in 20 years. Our past was characterized by this serious inequality in terms of ownership of economic assets, ownership or access to wealth, accumulation of assets which one generation could actually pass on to another. Instead, what we pass on from one generation to another for most people is poverty, not assets. Where we're going to focus a lot of our energies in the future: entrepreneurship, small business, development of co-ops in rural areas, and other forms of economic support, so that more people could become engaged in the economy. Because it is through that engagement that you will get real empowerment at the end of the day.